Hello. I'm really not from data integration. I'm from Qlik, who happens to do data integration, data analytics, which is really cool. So I'm going to talk both today. I'm going to talk about how you optimize and get your data ready to get the analytical insights that you need. I'm part of Qlik. I'm part of a Qlik acquisition earlier this year, Attunity. Any Attunity customers in the house today? Now, there's a lot of Attunity customers within AWS. So I'm going to talk about kind of that end-to-end. And first, I'm going to give it a little bit of context as to why people are making big investments into areas like clouds and AWS. You know, the information economy is here. Organizations that have made major shifts to becoming information-driven and highly data-literate organizations. You can see this is obvious to everyone how industries have changed based on the value that they're driving from information. It's always been the case over the last decade that analytics has been one of the top 3 priorities and investment areas for organizations. When the economy was bad, people kept investing, looking for ways to reduce or new opportunities. When the economy is good, it's all about how do we maximize the opportunity that's in front of us. Having said that, organizations are hiring CDOs, they're understanding the strategic value of information, but it's fraught with challenges. Anybody here an enterprise architect? No? Data engineering side of the house? Yeah? Okay, good. So some of what I'm going to be talking about today is how do you overcome some of these challenges. The budgets are there, the technology is shifting very quickly. How do you take advantage of it and really get the agility that you need? One of the things that's happening is in the analytics world is what we call the 3rd generation of BI. So the 1st generation of BI was your traditional business objects, Qlik, very centralized, report-oriented. 2nd generation BI was organizations like Tableau and Qlik. It's all about how do we provide more power to the users and make it more self-sufficient. We're in what we call the 3rd generation of BI. And there's 3 key attributes around this. One is the democratization of data. How do we make data available, all data, to a wider variety of users, but do it in a governed and controlled way? The second area is around augmented intelligence. It's not just about visualizing the data, but how do we apply AI and ML to help augment the user's identification of new insights. So we'll talk and I'll show you a little bit about what we're doing there. And the final piece is how do we push these insights to where they're more optimized for decision making and taking action. So embedded analytics and pushing that out over to the edge and embedding into applications. One of the big disappointments, I've been in this space for 25 years and you know, we still are talking about data silos. You'd have think we'd have solved the data silo challenge years and years ago. My first job was at Oracle and the relational database was brand new at the time. And I was a product manager there and we thought we were going to change the world and everyone was going to put in one big monolithic Oracle database. And Larry stuck to that for about 20 years, but the reality is there's more databases now than there has ever been. And while data gravity is shifting to the cloud, there's much more fragmentation. There's all kinds of different ways in which people are processing and storing and managing data. So, and for good reason, right? These are optimized platforms for doing different types of tasks, particularly around analytics. And if you look right around here, you know, you see the Snowflakes and the Databricks and the next generation of data management platforms, and you also see the Teradatas and others, you know, just from within view here. We need to find a way that you can kind of take advantage of these new technologies and have the agility to be able to respond in a much more agile way than we have done in the past, because change is always going to happen, right? If you think about the space that we're in, back in 2007, it was a major shift from that 1st generation BI moved from you know, from the SAPs and Oracles of the world, making big acquisitions of companies like Cognos and Business Objects and others. We're kind of in this wave right now where, you know, you're seeing Tableau get acquired by Salesforce, you're seeing Looker get acquired by Google. We're kind of in this next phase of, or next generation, a next wave where you're seeing, you know, the traditional stalwarts in 2nd generation being swallowed up. But what we need to get to is we need to get to a point where, regardless of the infrastructure that you want to process your data or how you want to analyze this data, you know, we need to have a very strong data and analytics infrastructure that can provide both the freedom in a good democracy, right? Democracy is about two things. It's about freedom. How do I empower the business user to get the data and the insights that they need, but also provide some of the governance, right? And the governance comes in a way done right that it's not an impediment to the business user, right? We're providing the right data in a way that we're protecting that data. We're meeting the regulatory requirements. We're meeting our own corporate requirements. But again, we're not being an impediment to the business users who need those insights faster. So I'm going to talk about 3 areas that Qlik can help reshape your future. And as you move to the cloud and as you look to embrace next generation technologies, kind of there's 3 fundamental areas that you need to be focused on. The first piece is your data strategy. Anybody here familiar with the term data ops? Data ops is relatively new. If you think about what DevOps did to software development and moving to a more agile, much more iterative process with continuous delivery and continuous testing and refinement, same things happening in the data world. And this is all about driving analytics-ready data faster and in a more automated way to a larger number of users. So people are looking for real-time data. They're looking to be more agile. They're looking to be able to take advantage of interesting new data management and technologies like some of the things that you see out here. I need a strategy that can handle all of my data, and I need to make sure that that data gets there in a way that is governed and controlled. What is the reality today is that as organizations are moving to the cloud and you're looking to technologies like Snowflakes or Databricks or others, you're making that transition because you're looking for the agility and you're looking for the cost advantage and the elasticity. But if you bring over those same processes that you've been using for the past 20 years, teams of ETL scripters doing those same monolithic, brittle kinds of approaches, you're going to fail, or you're not going to realize the benefits that you want by moving to the next generation. So there's a better way to do this, and I want to show you kind of how we do it. I'm going to talk about the first 2 parts of the solution on data. First is around moving that data in real time. This is a technology that Qlik acquired earlier this year. It's where I came from, a company called Attunity. Attunity technology has moved more than 170,000 enterprise databases into the Amazon cloud. So what you'll see is we create an integration task here. I'm going to move SAP data into Snowflake. I'm going to start with the full load, and then I'm going to do change data capture to pick up all the incremental updates from that SAP system in real time and move that into Snowflake. So the first part here is I'm going to define my sources and my targets. My source here is an SAP ERP system, and we've got some real intelligent ways in which we unlock SAP, which I'll talk about. And the target here is going to be Snowflake. So what you see here is I've just created an integration task. This is a very simple pipeline, source and target. From this, I'm going to select the tables that I want to move into Snowflake. So again, the way in which we go about accessing source systems like SAP, we've got deep integration with the metadata. We handle things like pool and cluster tables and all of the things that people do in the SAP world. Make it really easy to be able to understand what is the structure. I pick the tables, and then I run. So this is my first integration task. This is, again, I'm using change data capture. I'm doing a full load first from my, in this case, I've got SAP that's running in Azure, and I'm moving it into the AWS cloud where Snowflake is running. So when I start this task, it's going to do a few things. First, it's going to instantiate on the target side all of the different tables that we're moving over. We automatically do the mapping between heterogeneous systems. So if I'm going from an SAP or a mainframe system to another thing like a data warehouse or another database or data lake, we handle all that for you. So my task is running. When I click run, I'm now in this monitor view. So this is showing me the data as it's moving across the network into Amazon and into Snowflake. Again, it's a very simple, define a source, I define a target. All of this data is being moved in real time. And the way that our change data capture works is very unique. It's non-invasive to the source system. So we sniff out transaction changes in the transaction log. So all the committed changes, both the data and the metadata, we're capturing those, and we're moving just the deltas, just the changes, in real time over the network. So not only do you get the benefit of having real-time data, but it's a very efficient way to send data over a wide area network into the cloud, because you're just moving the changes over. So as you see this process, again, it starts with the bulk movement, and then it goes into the change data capture piece. The second piece of this is when I've now moved my data, I then want to create a data warehouse. So I'm going to create a Snowflake data warehouse. We could have loaded that data directly into an existing warehouse, but the other step around automation is, how do I create, in an automated fashion, a Snowflake data warehouse based on the model? So first I connect to my Snowflake system. I define the sources of data. I either build a model or I discover a model based on the metadata from the source system. We can also import a model from Irwin, or you can create your own model. But again, it's all model driven. So here I've inferred the model from the metadata. I can drill through, and you can see how this was created. The whole notion here is, once I've defined my model, and there's a lot of work to build the model right, but once I've defined my model, I can automatically generate all of the target tables, both the warehouse tables, the error and logging tables, and I can generate all of the ETL script and push that down to Snowflake automatically. So this is where the real efficiencies get gained in having a new process to automate what you've got teams of people doing today with tools like Informatica and Talent. Again, based on that model, I'm generating all the script that's required here, and I'm going to push this script down into Snowflake for execution. And I'm creating the ETL script for two things, for the bulk load and for that continuous change data capture. And the final step here is, for a business user who wants to generate a new star schema to do analytics and reporting, there's a wizard that enables them to do that. So they're not doing this in SQL. So here I'm defining a new star schema. This is a transactional view. I'm going to select my facts. I'm going to select my dimensions. And again, all of this is done in a point-and-click way, designed for Power Business user or data engineering teams to do this on behalf of users. But again, the notion here is, let's make it really easy to define views of information. In this case, in the star schema, generate that code, push it down to Snowflake for execution. And this is a really rapid way that you can go from that raw data that's sitting in my SAP system. We've moved it in real time into Snowflake. We've automatically generated the code to build and to manage that warehouse. And now I've got analytics-ready data for my business users. The next piece is how do I help business users find that information in these data sets that we've created? This is where a data catalog can significantly help. This is the part where the data engineering teams and the business users meet at the data catalog. And it also provides a way not only for business users to find the information, but to start to apply the governance to that. So you need a way to do both. So I'm going to show you quickly what we do with a product called Data Catalyst. This is the view from a business user. So think we're at an Amazon show. Think about an Amazon shopping experience, right? Where I'm looking for sources of information. I can do natural language queries to find data sets that I need. Within each of these data sets, it's telling me information about it so I can have confidence. From a data engineering team, as I load data in, I can define automatically what was loaded in. Was this good, bad, or indifferent data? And help me clean this up and make it operational to the business users. So a data engineering team could look at this and say, oh, this data came in, these characters didn't come through as expected. This is not something that can be used with an analytics tool. Or if I'm a data steward, now I can start to apply policies to this data as it's loaded. So a policy may be, look for PII data and automatically provide some masking to that data. So this is part of protecting that data and adding those governance steps in to help the business user. You can define roles and groups, and from a business user's perspective, I can look at it and say, this is a good quality data set. It's a popular data set. It's being used a lot in operations. I'm going to drill into this data set. I can learn more about the data set, just like shopping, right? I'm looking for reviews, and I'm looking to see what about this data set? What's the distribution of the data look like? Is it something that I think will meet the needs of my analytics tool? So once I've looked at the data and I said, yeah, this is something that that I think will work. Just like a shopping metaphor, I can add it to my cart, and here I can publish it out. I can publish it out to Qlik, into Tableau, soon into Power BI, export it into other sources. But again, this is a really quick way that I can go from discovering the information that I need to bringing it right into an analytics environment. In this case, I'm moving it directly into Qlik. I'm moving it into the data prep side of Qlik so I can see that I can join all this data and the world looks good. So I'm going through this quick. I've got 4 minutes left. I want to show you something really, really cool. So we've created the data set. We've put it into a catalog. We've applied some governance to it. Now, how do I provide the insights that I need? This is where the augmented intelligence comes in from Qlik. So you probably know Qlik as an analytics organization. So what I'm going to show you is a very cool demo. Anybody know what this tool is? Slack. You got it. So this is it's called the Insight Bot, and this is integrated into Slack. So Slack is a collaboration tool, which is very cool. As a Slack user, I can do queries against Qlik right from within Slack. What are my total sales? I asked the Qlik Insight Bot. So it comes back with an answer, $19.1 million, which is great, but it also gives me additional insights. Give me a trend line of what my sales looks like. It also says, like a good conversation, it's two-way. Just don't answer the question. I'm going to offer you something. I'm going to offer you additional insights that you might not have thought to ask. It's going to say, hey, you may also be interested in looking at last year, last quarter. It shows me where the data came from. This is coming from total sales by year, by month in retail convenience. But I want to do another slice of this. Give me this information, sales by category in a pie chart. So again, it comes back with a pie chart. It understands the context. I don't have to go back to say, give me total sales by category, but just do it into a pie chart, so understand the context. And again, it's giving me additional insights that I might be interested in, like orders. I can continue on and ask additional queries of this information. And I can also do some things integrated with Slack. If I look at this pie chart, if I drill into this pie chart and say, okay, fine, this is the pie chart that I was interested in, but I want to be able to take this and I want to be able to say, put a little star in that and make that a favorite and add that directly into Slack. So now I've got this insight available to others in my organization as part of a collaboration environment within Slack. So I'm pushing those analytics and those insights right down to the teams that need it, which is great. Now let's do some more sophisticated queries. So let's do a prediction here. Again, predict total sales. I'll filter it by fuel, a category that I know. And I'm going to do it in a specific date range. So do a prediction within the next quarter for sales. So a little bit more sophisticated query. It's going out. It gives me the answer. It says, here's your prediction, 265K. Tells me where it got that data from. And again, it retained all of the context as I'm giving my query to the tool. If I want to take this and email it to a colleague, I can just say, take these insights you've just generated and email it. So this is what you traditionally think about in terms of analytics and Qlik. So this is a dashboard, right? So the power of Qlik lies in the associative engine and the way in which all of the data is indexed in memory. So as I start to filter information, it's retaining the context throughout the dashboard. I've got very powerful applications, so as I filtered out, I can step through the application. It maintains that context. All of this stuff is being done in memory. And we've brought this insight capability, this augmented intelligence capability into the desktop as well. So that same kind of thing I showed you in Slack, you can also do this at the desktop level. I can start asking questions here. Give me sales and margin by city. So it's dynamically creating new insights for me based on my question. So it'll show me both the generated insights you see on the bottom. It also shows me some existing charts that I've got available to me within Qlik. So again, I'm traversing this data in ways that any business user can. By asking simple questions, it's generating these brand new insights for me. Again, these are some of the existing charts in the workbook that are available that may also provide the right kind of context. So again, mixing the augmented intelligence with the existing dashboards. So if I want to start to do some more analysis here, I can start to swap this. I want to look at it in different ways, so I can swap the axis. I can find some interesting outliers here. Let me drill down on some of these outliers. You see, as I selected those outliers, all of the other charts changed dynamically. The entire application is maintaining that context. Again, this is a very powerful way in which business users can start to analyze. And we've also, the end of this demo is which I don't have time for, the end of this demo gets into more of the predictive analytics. So how do we start to add the predictive models to this and bring that same power and versatility of the Qlik user experience to more predictive analytics as well. So I've run out of time, but I appreciate your interest. The Qlik and Attunity booth is right over there. You can see it from here. I've got a few minutes for questions off the floor. Happy to answer those questions. And again, I very much appreciate the time and attention today. Thank you all very much.